What's up, everybody? Alex here with a fresh cup of coffee that, hey, I didn't have to wait in a line for to enjoy. I'm excited to share with you three stories to go along with three cards that I picked up at this year's National. First up is an all timer for me, one of the most beautiful images ever to be put on a card, and I really honestly can't believe that I finally got one. It's the 1909 E192 of Mr. Christy Mathewson. This was my first pickup when I arrived on Thursday, and let me tell you, it was filled with some ridiculous, epic drama. I spotted it pretty quickly, and to be honest, I had to mentally wrestle with the authentic designation. But when you're a YouTuber and you're at the National, you have access to a support system that pretty much always comes through. In this case, I didn't even have to send out a distress call. TJ is online, Brian B. Roth 6, Rick Vintage Oddball Cards, and Andrew Nuffsaid Cards. All of those guys just happened to be in the same area at the time, so one by one I was able to pick their brain. I mean, some of the most knowledgeable guys in the hobby, right where you need them to be in the moment you need them to be there. The long and short of it is that this was my first time buying an authentic card, and I'm glad I got over that hurdle because it doesn't have to be that big of a deal if you learn how to approach it. Most importantly, I'm just super pleased with the look of this card. This is an all-time top 5 card for me. Beautiful, incredibly vibrant. I just love this card so much that I'm going to definitely do a separate video on it at some point because it's just magic and it deserves its own video. But I did promise some drama in this story, and it wasn't the authentic label. The drama came when I was ready to try to purchase the card. The problem, quite simply, was that the Wi-Fi in the convention center was spotty at best. And though I planned to stop for cash before my trip, I just ran out of time. So I had to rush outside the center to try to get a signal, but no luck. For 30 minutes or so, everything else I tried just turned into a dead end. Then, once again, fellow collectors came to the rescue. I ran into Eric, those back pages, Don from the show and me, and Rob, who's on X. And on a whim, Rob suggested trying a hotspot. And for whatever reason, it worked. Even though Rob's phone wasn't working for him, the hotspot worked for me. The problem now was we weren't near the booth when we discovered this, so Rob and I started walking quickly towards the booth with our phones hovering next to each other to try to maintain the connection. We looked completely ridiculous, I'm sure, but we made it, and the rest is history. So, a very special shout out to all those guys for their help in getting this card into my collection. On Friday, I had a less dramatic, but in a way still fateful find. The 1954 Bowman Mickey Mantle is a card that I've been thinking about for about 6 years or so. If you're looking for a bigger, let's say, mainstream card, I think doing that at the National makes a ton of sense because it's really, really satisfying to have a huge sample size of examples in various conditions and price ranges. So you get to see all of them in person, you get to hold them in your hand, look them over, and in the end, you just have a decent shot at making a choice that you're really happy with. I stopped at a case that had three Bowman mantles in it. I looked them all over, but none of them really fit that sweet spot between condition and price that I'm always aiming for. And as I was about to walk away, something stopped me in my tracks. It was this card, one that both the dealer and I had missed, and it was in a separate case. I had a good feeling right away about it, and when I looked it over, I knew it was the one. I didn't come to the National with the mantle on my mind, but hey, I've looked at this card on eBay for 6 years now. I've watched countless examples come and go. I've studied it. I've formed opinions about it. I've watched the prices fluctuate. I've developed my taste and sense of what I want my collection to be. It wasn't that I was searching for it all those years, it was just another card on my mind. But I knew that someday I was going to go after it, so I did my homework on this card, and after 6 years of looking at it, here it is. It's now in my collection. I can't actually believe it. It's earned its spot, though. It's one of my absolute favorite images of the Mick on a card. And as it turns out, it's kind of an unintentional callback to my previous National 5 years ago when I picked up the 53 mantle. By Saturday, my card search was pretty much done. I was happy with the Mathewson and the mantle, and I didn't want to overdo it. Saturday was shaping up to just be a day to enjoy the overall experience, wander around, absorb all the details, all the unique memorabilia, and just enjoy running into people. And I definitely had that experience. I'm not going to try to list all the YouTubers I ran into in the aisles because there were a ton of them, and you all know who you are, and I love all you guys. And I had a number of people stop me to say nice things about the channel and about Card Room Live, which really meant a lot to hear. And I was also present to see some fellow tubers make their big finds, which is honestly really special. On YouTube, we do our best to pump each other up after a big pickup with a like and a comment, but to actually be there in person and watch somebody go through that anticipation and then finally the joy of finding what they were looking for is truly special. It's kind of a bonding moment. There are so many incredible finds from the folks in this community that I honestly think that YouTube is going to be lit up for a couple of weeks. So for most of Saturday, I walked the floor with Jason, everyday card collector, and my sometimes, no, all the time best friend Scott from Reindeer Studios. I had some cards in mind to look for, but really wasn't serious about purchasing anything. I was just going to enjoy looking at all the oddball memorabilia. I chatted with a dealer and drooled over his Brooklyn Dodgers promotional ad piece. I looked at an incredible Christy Mathewson book that I'm probably going to try to pick up at some point. I was just soaking up the vibes. And then, out of nowhere, this card jumped out at me from a pre-war case. And it was really unexpected. Most of you know I have a list that I curate all the time, and I pretty much stick to that list. And this card is not on that list. It's never been on it. And I am looking for the Mel Ott from this set, but I hadn't focused on this one. But when I saw it in the case, in person, it immediately caught my eye. And so, here it is. And I love this card. And I'm going to go ahead and say something, and it's to all you black and white haters out there. It's a mistake to call this card black and white. This is called art, guys. This is art. The photography here is incredible. It's both sharp and soft at the same time, and I'm talking about the photography, not the card. This kind of image just does not happen anymore quality-wise. Photography, now it's advanced, it's hypersensitive, it's digital, it's calculated, it's crisp, it's predictable. This is analog, it's organic, it's unique, it's special, and of course, let's get real here, it's Mr. Carl Hubbell. Absolutely love this card and was excited to have this unexpected pickup. What struck me about the YouTube get-together was how large it's gotten, how many people are a part of it, how many people I didn't recognize. It's an ever-changing thing. Honestly, I thought a lot about all my buddies from years past who aren't making videos anymore and how much I really miss their presence. And I also, of course, thought about all the great newer channels that have come along in the past few years to help keep this thing fresh and growing with new ideas and new enthusiasm. But you know what? Hanging out in the get-together on Thursday night, I had this feeling that it's not even really about YouTube. It's not really about how big or small you think your channel is. And in the end, it's not even really about the cards. It's about making friends and making a community. And when I look at these three cards, I see more than the players and the years and the condition issues and the eye appeal and all that other stuff. What I see truly are the memories. I see old friends, I see new friends, members of a community that I honestly feel extremely lucky to have stumbled upon 6 years ago. And whenever I look at these cards for the rest of my life, I will see the 2024 National. I will see those memories and those people. They're forever connected to these cards. So just a few final thoughts before I wrap up here. If you're a collector and you've been watching all these national videos and you've thought about making a channel, stop thinking about it and just do it. There's no time like the present, and we will all be super glad that you did. And if you're an old YouTuber who happens to be watching this and you've stopped making videos, or maybe you know an old YouTuber that you miss like I do, I have a message to pass along to all those folks. You don't have to make videos, obviously, none of us do. Although it would be awesome if you made videos again, I promise this is not a guilt trip thing. It's just that if you are or have ever been a YouTuber, you are a part of this community as far as I'm concerned. I think all of us would agree. And you should seriously consider attending a show, whether it's the National or Strongsville or any other regional show, to connect with your fellow YouTubers. I saw a lot of YouTubers at the YouTube get-together. Some of them may not be making videos anymore, but that doesn't matter. This is a community thing. It's a community that we're all seriously very fortunate to be a part of, and I think an event like the National is where that really hits home the most. And finally, I have to give a shout out to the coolest, swankiest YouTube Airbnb around. You all know who you are. You guys were great housemates. Jesus, guys, somehow we survived. It was a blast hanging around, shooting the shit, and looking at all your great pickups. Honestly, it was fantastic. So, that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Thanks for the likes and comments. And most of all, if you're a YouTuber, thanks for being out there and thanks for doing your thing. Take care, and I'll talk to you all soon.